Evening bell chant in English. Evening bell chant in English. Evening bell chant in English. My mouse disappeared. There it is. That should be better. Hearing the sound of the bell, all thinking is cut off. Wisdom grows, enlightenment appears, hell is left behind. Three worlds are transcended. Vowing to become Buddha and save all people, the mantra of shattering hell. Om Garajya Sabaha. Om Garajya Sabaha. Om Garajya Sabaha. Take refuge. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. I go for refuge in the Buddha. I go for refuge in the Dharma. I go for refuge in the Sangha. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. All right, so pardon the technical user error difficulties. We'll start with our first session of seated meditation. When you hear sutras being chanted, either by your own voice or by other people, you are cultivating affinity for the teachings and practice. It is a way that leads to a joyful mind and great spiritual merit. This body is no more stable than a bubble. It will soon disappear, but any efforts made for the sake of the truth will never die. All right. Let us chant the Gatha on opening the sutras. This Dharma, incomparably profound and minutely subtle, is rarely encountered even in hundreds of thousands of millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, hold and maintain it. May we completely realize the true mind of all Buddhas. Just want to keep you guys on your toes. So, tonight, this should be interesting. I am looking forward to it. Our brother Minwee will be providing us with the Dharma for the evening. So,
thank you, Unsan. And so first, I'm going to ask you guys to bear with me if I have some technical glitches here. I'm going to be sharing my screen. Unsan asked me tonight, he gave me an assignment. He says, Minwee, you've already written a book. Most of this is in there. You can just adapt it. I want you to give a Dharma talk on the Buddha gives a PowerPoint. So that's the plan. And I'm going to share my screen and then start the PowerPoint. I hope it shows up clearly. Since I will not be able to see myself when I do this, when I create the PowerPoint presentation, somebody just verbally give me a, okay, yeah, we see it type of thing, because I'm not sure it's going to work as well as I hope. But we'll try. All right, so let's give it a whirl. Okay,
Yep.
I think you see that now, right?
Yep.
yes.
Oh, okay, great. Now hopefully it works for me. Okay, so the Buddha gives a PowerPoint, and this was adapted from my 10-minute Dharma talks. Basically, I'm going to go through the first 6 chapters because that's the where the meat of the Dharma shows up. And I'm going to try to do this 6 chapters in 15 minutes or less. So we'll go through these a little quickly. It's all on here. If you're watching this on YouTube later, you can just press pause and see the whole screen. But then I'll take a little bit more time on the last 2 slides because that's where we wrap it all up. So the life of the Buddha. The Buddha's life is our life. And that's what I want you to try to understand from this. It's not just about history. It's about his awakening that mirrors our own journey. So, what did he face that helped him decide to become an ascetic? He saw those 4 sights of old age, sickness, death, and a wandering ascetic. And those shattered his illusions and called him to look for the truth. And so he had his great renunciation, and he left the palace and became a wandering ascetic. And through his 6 years or so of doing this, he finally discovered the middle way. Neither indulgence nor self-mortification, but balanced, sustained inquiry. And it was beneath the Bodhi tree he awakened. He didn't become enlightened. Buddha means the awakened one. And he awakened not to the supernatural, but to the natural, the nature of things as they truly are. And for 45 years, he taught this. He taught the 4 Noble Truths, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. And he established a Sangha that was open to everybody from all statuses of society, men and women. And as he was about to die, and at his parinirvana, his final teaching was impermanence. All conditioned things decay. And just as Unsan every week gives us that great admonition at the end, that was the Buddha's great admonition too. Work out your liberation with diligence. And so his story truly is our story. And so we just have to ask ourselves, where are we on his map? Are we still in the palace? Are we at the forest's edge? Or are we sitting beneath our own Bodhi tree? And then, so the Buddha's greatest teachings were his Four Noble Truths. This was the basis for all of his discovery of what the reality of nature was. And he followed these Four Noble Truths. He described them just as a medical doctor would in a medical diagnosis. There was the diagnosis, the cause of the disease, the prognosis, and the treatment. So his first noble truth was suffering. Life involves suffering. This was not some pessimistic idea. This was just him observing the nature of our human existence. There's ordinary suffering, there's suffering of change, and this pervasive unsatisfactoriness of the conditioned existence. Just something's not right. And his second noble truth was craving. Craving for sensory pleasure, craving to become something, and craving for non-existence. This wish to escape from experience, annihilate experience, avoid all suffering, right? And the third noble truth was cessation. Cessation is possible. This was his prognosis. This was, as I said before, he gave the diagnosis. The diagnosis was suffering. The cause was craving. The prognosis is it's possible. You can cease this suffering. We can extinguish the fire of craving. And then he tells us, what's the treatment? The Noble Eightfold Path. That was the treatment. And living this integrated way of life leads to liberation, this liberation from suffering. So in Zazen, we learn this while we're sitting on the cushion. We witness suffering, craving, cessation directly every time we sit, if we recognize it, if we wake up to it, not as a philosophy, but as a lived experience. And then we take that recognition from the cushion into our daily lives. And so he taught the Noble Eightfold Path, which was the final part, right, of his teaching there of the Four Noble Truths. And so the Eightfold Path is not a linear ladder, but it's a mandala. We often see it in Buddhism as, that eight-spoked wheel of the Dharma, so to speak. And all 8 factors support each other simultaneously. Of course, I was the one that wrote the book, and I am the one that had this mnemonic device that helped me learn this to memorize it when I was actually a Dhamma teacher for children. I came up with this Visa Let 'em See, which the whole concept behind that was on your journey through samsara, you need a passport. And in that passport, you have a visa, let 'em see. And so the Noble Eightfold Path is broken down into 3 parts. And so in the first part, we have wisdom, prajna. And so the wisdom part of it, the first 2 spokes, we might call it, are right view and right intention. In the second part, we have sila, or ethics. So we have prajna and sila, and in a moment, we'll get to the samadhi, or the meditation, the concentration part. But in the ethics, the sila part, we have right speech, right action, and right livelihood. And this is the Buddha teaching us, if we live these ways and practice these practicings, we can cease suffering. And as I said, the last part is the meditation section of the Noble Eightfold Path. So again, you often hear this called Prajna Sila Samadhi. And so in the Samadhi or the meditation part, we have right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And so these three trainings, Prajna Sila Samadhi, wisdom, ethics, meditation, are not sequential stages, but a living mandala. Each supports and deepens the others. We walk all 8 at once, however imperfect we actually are. And then we turn, all of these are included in the Heart Sutra. I meant to say that at the beginning. All of these teachings of the Buddha are included in the Heart Sutra that we chant every week. And this section here, the 6 senses, the 6 consciousnesses, and the 6 dusts, are an integral part of the Heart Sutra that we chant. And so the Buddha taught us that awakening is not found in withdrawal from the world, but in contact with it. How we engage the world and nature in its very presence. And so the 6 senses, which you'll know from the Heart Sutra, are the eye, the ears, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. And they're the gates. These are the senses in which we experience all stimuli, all type of experience arrives to us through these senses. And then we have the sense objects, which we call the dusts. And we call the dust this because they settle on the mirror of our awareness, but also because they are the impermanent part. This dust can be blown away and it's gone. So that is what we actually experience through our 6 sense objects. And through the eyes, we experience form. Through the ears, sound. Through the nose, smell, etc. So we chant these also in the Heart Sutra. And then we get to the sense consciousness. What is the consciousness? The consciousness is when we, with our eyes, we see a form. Then in our consciousness, we describe it, we define it. That's where we become aware. Sitting in front of me is a computer monitor. I see it, I label it in my mind, and then I give a name to it. So as we see these 6 senses and then the 6 dusts and the 6 consciousnesses, we see that we don't have to add a me, a self to this, because when we wipe it clean of the dust, what remains is just awareness of every single moment to moment experience. And so the next time you're sitting, and we'll do that here in just a few minutes when we sit for another 15 minutes. If you notice a sound, can you hear it without naming it and without deciding whether you like it or not? That gap before you decide if you like it or not, that is freedom. And then we have the 5 skandhas, also chanted in the Heart Sutra. And it's all about self. And the Buddha's teaching that what is not you, what is not this self that we tend to wrap our ego into. And these 5 aggregates that we chant in the Heart Sutra is what most people think as themselves. And the Buddha was teaching it. They're 5 empty aggregates. And they arise and dissolve moment to moment. The first one is form. The body, impermanent, vulnerable, subject to aging and decay. The next one is feeling. Remember, as we're chanting these, no form, no feelings, feeling. And I describe it here as feeling tone, because it's not a feeling like a pinprick. It's a description that we ourselves give it, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. That's the trigger point where craving or aversion is born. And then we have the perception. This is when we label things. So we see a plant has a pretty little red thing at the top of it, has thorns on it, and we suddenly label it. That's a rose. That's a flower. Then we have our mental formation. This is that vast warehouse of habits, intentions, and karma. Volition lives here, the choices that shape future becoming. And finally, we have consciousness. It's not a fixed witness, but a flowing awareness arising, dependent entirely on those other things that happen, the four other things that happen before it. And it's never the same twice. Never. You go to the beach and you see the waves coming in. No wave is exactly like the first wave. Everyone is different. Together, these aggregates give us this idea that is me. But looking closely, can you pick which one of those is really you? The Buddha says you can't. And when you learn to let go, that's liberation. And when the self is seen as a process rather than a fixed identity, then that great awakening appears. And then, perhaps considered one of the Buddha's more difficult teachings, but it's really not, because this is a teaching on emptiness, the 12-link chain of dependent origination. When this is, that is. When this ceases, that ceases. That is the 12-link chain wrapped into one sentence, or two sentences, forgive me. When this is, that is. When this ceases, that ceases. So the 12-link chain, these 12 links form a chain that turns the wheel of suffering. And you can see how suffering arises from these. First, we have the setup. And again, we just kind of talked about these a little bit. The setup is the ignorance, formations, consciousness, and name and form, that nama rupa. And then we interface with those four things. Our interface is exactly that. Our six sense bases, our six sense contacts and feeling tone. Excuse me. And then we have our reaction. Our reaction is craving, clinging, becoming. And then we are born and we die. So the 12-link chain can be broken up into three parts: the setup, the interface, the reaction, and the result. This is not some abstract philosophy that the Buddha was trying to teach. He was trying to teach real, tangible, practical understanding. And so you can watch it unfold. You can watch it unfold when your phone buzzes. There's your first contact. And a flicker of tension arises in your mind. Should I check my phone? Should I see if that's a message from so-and-so? And then we reach for it. I'm distracted. I can't finish what I'm doing. I got to grab my phone. So you grab your phone. And then you look and you realize, oh, I grabbed my phone. Now I'm reading it. Oh, it was from my boss. Now I got to go, whatever. All of these things it's a pattern of reaction, stress. What do we do about the stress? How do we react? What do we do? Rather than stopping and breathing and taking a moment of pause, we react impulsively sometimes. The phone buzzed, I got to look. The breaking point for this 12-link chain is between the feeling tone and the craving. And that gap lives freedom. Feeling arises, but you do not have to reach. What arises dependently is empty of inherent existence. And that, whatever is empty, is totally releasable. So in practice, notice one moment today where feeling tone arises and you pause before reacting. That pause is the entire path. Okay, so these 6 chapters form a single arc. These teachings of the Buddha, these basic teachings of the Buddha. First, his life, which is our own, and then his teachings. It offers a mirror that we live in a palace of distraction. We encounter suffering and we have to choose whether to look or turn away. The Four Noble Truths give us the diagnosis and the cure, and the Noble Eightfold Path provides the integrated mandala of wisdom, ethics, and meditation, when woven together, allow us to cease our suffering. And then we see the six senses, their dust, and we learn the anatomy of experience, how awareness meets the world at every gate. And we look at these five skandhas, again, that we chant about in the Heart Sutra, and we know what we call a self is really just a process. And then finally, the arc is clear. From map to diagnosis, to path, to perception, to self, to causation. Each teaching illuminates the others. Together they form not a philosophy, but a practice to live and wake up to. So in returning to our practice, the Dharma is not a distant summit to be conquered. It lives in the sound of rain on the roof, in the breath rising and falling, in the moment between feeling and response, where you choose awareness over happiness, over habit, excuse me. And finally, awakening is not far away. It is discovered by looking directly at experience, softening the grip of our clinging, our grasping, and trusting the practice, one ordinary moment at a time. The Dharma is already here, waiting for you to notice. So that was the Dharma in PowerPoint. The Buddha gives a PowerPoint. So I thank you, Unsan, for giving me the opportunity to put all that together in kind of a Cliff Notes version.
Honestly, I was expecting more bullet points. You know, Four Noble Truths, they lend themselves to bullet points. Eightfold Path, more. And, as I recall, I had asked for the paramitas and immeasurables to be included in there somewhere. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. Not hearing a word.
Sorry,
There.
I was saying, did you see how long that lasted already? Didn't feel like I could squeeze more in, so it lasted too long.
Fine. um, so we'll start up with another meditation period. When studying Buddhist sutras, if you do not reflect deeply on your own mind at the same time, you could study the entire 84,000 volume canon of the Buddha's words and still it would not do you any good whatsoever. my own little fire sermon going on here. I think Canada might be coming back. My eyes are burning. And so on. So, by the way, Minwi, that was much nicer than anything I would have done. Mine would literally have been a big red background with white type, suffering, origination, stopping, path. And then the next slide would be the 8 elements of the path. And so, yeah, good job on that. So let us then, since Minwi talked about it in his talk, let us go through the Heart Sutra and see where they all pop up in there. Mahaprajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the prajna paramita, perceives that all 5 skandhas are empty and is safe from all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore, in emptiness, no form, no feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth, until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance, and also no extinction of it, and so forth, until no old age and death, and also no extinction of it, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment, with nothing to attain. The bodhisattva depends on prajna paramita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, one dwells in nirvana. In the 3 worlds, all Buddhas depend on prajna paramita and attain anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the prajna paramita mantra. Proclaim the mantra which says gate gate para gate parasam gate bodhisvaha gate gate para gate parasam gate bodhisvaha. Svagate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. See? Covered all of it. So let us do Venerable Wanji's loving kindness meditation. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to me. May no difficulties come to me. May I have a calm and peaceful mind. May I have patience, insight, courage, and compassion in meeting the challenges of life. May my parents be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they have a calm and peaceful mind. May they have patience, insight, courage, and compassion in meeting the challenges of life. May my teachers be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they have a calm and peaceful mind. May they have patience, insight, courage, and compassion in meeting the challenges of life. May family members and relatives be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they have a calm and peaceful mind. May they have patience, insight, courage, and compassion in meeting the challenges of life. May friends and acquaintances be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they have a calm and peaceful mind. May they have patience, insight, courage, and compassion in meeting the challenges of life. May unfriendly people and my enemies be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they have a calm and peaceful mind. May they have patience, insight, courage, and compassion in meeting the challenges of life. May unknown persons be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they have a calm and peaceful mind. May they have patience, insight, courage, and compassion in meeting the challenges of life. May all beings, with form and without form, visible, invisible, born or coming to birth, large and small, from the highest realm of existence to the lowest, be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to them. May no difficulties come to them. May they have a calm and peaceful mind. May they have patience, insight, courage, and compassion in meeting the challenges of life. We'll do our personal dedications of merit. All sentient beings are one seamless body and pass quickly from birth to death. We remember those who cared for us and are gone, those who were ill, those who were at war, who were hungry and who were in pain. May they heal and have peace. We especially dedicate our service to Mike Gingy Wood, Sienna Wood, Brian Unger, Amy Rowan. Would anyone else care to add someone in?
Barry, Juanita, and James.
Anyone else?
Elaine Sue and my Lynn fam.
Anyone else? The Sheridan family and anyone suffering from cancer. All beings in the 10 directions, subject to the greed, hatred, and delusions of themselves and others. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored ones, Bodhisattva, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Mahaprajna Paramita. We'll recite our faith and practice vow. I will never retreat and will be firm in my mind in this correct Dharma. I will escape from the samsaric cycle of birth and death, and definitely will see my original face. I will be sure to inherit the life of insight of the Buddha and save all sentient beings. And Brother Hengdahl.
The spiritual source shines clearly in the light. Branching streams flow on in the dark. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. Birds and trees and stars and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We practice and recite this for all beings in grateful thanks to our many guides along the way.
And Brother Minwei. 4 great Bodhisattva vows.
Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to help them all. Delusions are countless. We vow to see through them all. Opportunities to awaken are infinite. We vow to embrace them all. The Buddha way is endless. We vow to embody it.
It's extremely difficult to get a human body, so don't waste the opportunity to practice hard. Once you miss this chance, it will be very difficult to get it again. If you don't attain the strength in your practice, only your karma will remain when you die. Time is of the utmost importance for a Zen practitioner. Don't waste even one moment. If you have one mind, even at that time, you can get enlightenment.